I've been singing a lot lately, so I decided to do something different. I decided to read something. I am an amateur writer. I write for a homeschool magazine. I've written 9 short stories, which has gotten me English honors credit, and I've written 2 novels, which are being edited right now, and I'm almost done with the 3rd. So, it's all part of a series, so maybe I'll do a blog about that sometime, but at the moment I'm going to do something quite different. I'm going to read you the very first thing I wrote, which is a mystery. It's actually part of a series too. But anyway, enough with the talking. Start reading. The Cast Cases and Mysteries. The Case of the Queen's Chess Set. Part 1. Prologue. America, 1793. A shadowy figure cowered beside a twisted and gnarled tree in the old St. George's Cemetery. It crouched there, as if it were waiting for someone. "Arrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr with the other. Finally, he heard a wagon coming down the road at a fast pace. He stepped out and raised his hand as a signal for it to stop. The wagon halted and the driver, a thin and gaunt man, hopped down. They did not speak to each other. They just nodded. Both men worked quickly and soon completed their task. Then the driver turned and said, "Viven longtemps Leo." As he began to drive off, the silent stranger pulled out his pistol and fired. The thin man went limp, and the horses stopped. "Viven longtemps la revolution," the murderer replied, and with that he turned and walked into the spreading fog. America, present day. Jackie Aubrey Cass stood alone in the hallway of their new house, staring hard into the living room. Her family had moved again, and she was still trying to figure out why. Aubrey had always been rather curious. She liked the new house. It had a high hallway with smooth wooden floors. The walls were painted a forest green with ivy painted on the borders. In the living room, the fireplace was covered with stones, like the mantel flanked by bookshelves and cases. It was spacious and comfortable, but there was something strange about it. The realtor who had helped them said the house was completely empty. But in the living room, right underneath the bay window, was a chess set complete with chessboard. That was what Aubrey was looking at so intently. Suddenly, from nowhere, came her father's voice calling, "Aubrey!" She jumped and ran back outside. When some of the unpacking was done, Aubrey went into the living room and sat down in front of the chess set. She picked up a knight and looked at it. When she put it down, the square it had been on clicked down and stayed compressed. Aubrey gaped at it for a moment, and began trying other spaces. If she pressed the wrong tile, all the squares popped back up. Finally, she got the order right, which was A5, C3, F8, and B2. When she punched in the last combination, a drawer in the corner slid out. Aubrey reached in and pulled out an old sheet of paper. The writing was fancy, and it took Aubrey a second before she could read it. "Look inside, White Queen." Aubrey thought for a moment, then she snatched up the White Queen and banged it against the side of the chessboard. It sounded hollow. With that, Aubrey darted into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and sliced off her head. "That was a beautiful work of art," came an exasperated voice. Aubrey looked up and saw her sister standing at the kitchen door with a book in her hand. "The note told me to look in the White Queen," Aubrey explained. "What note?" Katie asked, with a quizzical expression on her face. Aubrey reached into her pocket where she had put it and retrieved the note. While Katie was trying to figure out when it was written, Aubrey had worked another piece of paper out of the queen. But this time it was not a note. It was a map. "Wow," she quietly said to herself. She had just begun to really examine it when they heard a knock at the front door. The rest of their family was out at the grocery store, so Aubrey went and answered. When she opened it, a man was standing there with a package in his hand. "Do I have to sign?" Aubrey asked. "No, ma'am," was the response. He handed the box to her and stared at the map in her hand. Aubrey gave him a weird look and closed the door. She put the map down and opened the box. It was empty. "Wacky," she muttered to herself. She was about to show Katie the package when the phone rang. "Let the answering machine get it," Katie said. They let it ring and went about their business. There was the beep and then an unearthly chuckle. It was an evil chuckle that immediately sent chills down Aubrey's spine. "I know who you are, and if you don't give me what's mine, I will come for you." Suddenly the mysterious caller hung up. Both Aubrey and Katie stood there, frozen in that one moment of terror. Aubrey then stared down at the map she had just discovered. The guy who called must have been the mailman. Why did he want the map? Was it a treasure map? And if so, who had it belong to? Aubrey held the map in her hands and thought, "I mustn't let him have it. Whatever this map leads to, this mystery man wants it bad. I just hope it's not worth killing for."